us talk about the strength measurements in concrete and mortar. Strain gauge can also be used to measure the strength in concrete and mortar. The applications is similar to those used in steel plates or steel bars. Only the type of strain gauge used will be different. There are three main test conditions that concrete and mortar may be tested. The first one, it will be the immediate testing under the indoor conditions. This kind of testing is normally done in the laboratory. Researcher produces their test specimen in the lab. Upon reaching the matured period, the test specimen are tested. Everything is carried out under the indoor conditions, and the test specimen is not subjected to harsh environment that may affect the strain gauge. Under these circumstances, PF series or P series may be used. The relevant adhesive used can be CN, CNE, and also P2. The P or PF series are the polyester strain gauge. They are applicable for concrete, mortar, and rocks under the operating temperature range of -20 degrees Celsius to 80 degrees Celsius. The applicable adhesive is listed here, which is CNE, RP2, and also PS. For P series, there are single element and also 2 element staggered rosette and also 3 element staggered rosette. The series comes with the gauge length of 60, 90, and 120 mm. If you compare the strain gauge for concrete with the strain gauge for reinforcing steel bar, the size of the strain gauge is typically bigger due to the nature of the concrete, which is made of composite comprising aggregates, cements, and sand. The strain response of the concrete may not be uniform throughout the test specimen. Therefore, it is wise to use a larger strain gauge in order to acquire an average strength developed within certain region. A simple rule of thumb is we will use the strain gauge with the gauge length at least 3 times the size of the aggregate used in the concrete. Let's say now a typical concrete comprises aggregate of 20 mm. You will need the strain gauge to be at least 60 mm size. That's why it comes with 60, 90, and 120 mm P series. Now the differences between the P series and the PF series, it will be the sensitive elements on the strain gauge. The P series use wire strain gauge, while the PF series use foil strain gauge. Another difference between the P series and the PF series, it will be the gauge length. The P series have the gauge length of 60, 90, and 120 mm. As for the PF series, the size it will be 10, 20, and 30 mm. There are also single element, 90 degree, 2 element staggered rosette, and also 3 element staggered rosette. Since the PF series here is slightly smaller in the size, that means the measured regions in terms of the strength, it will be smaller, more concentrated. It is suitable to measure the concentrated stress on the concrete or mortar. You know that mortar is produced by sand and cement only. You have no concern in terms of the size of the aggregate. You can always use PF series to measure the strength on mortar. Now the second test conditions, it will be the somewhat prolonged testing under outdoor condition. The third conditions, it will be the long-term testing under the outdoor conditions. The main difference between these two, it will be the durations of the testing. This one is referring to a long period of testing and monitoring as compared to this. Now for the second test condition here, you may also use PF and P series. The recommended adhesive, it will be RP2. As for the long-term testing under the outdoor condition, you may use WFLM series. PS adhesive may be used. A typical WFLM series looks something like this. It is suitable for concrete and mortar. The operating temperature range between -20 degrees Celsius to 80 degrees Celsius. The applicable adhesive is PS adhesive. Now the WPFLM series is different from the P and PF series. There is a thin layer of stainless steel backing which is used to prevent the penetrations of the moisture from the reverse sides. As you're going to expect long-term measurements of the strength under the outdoor conditions may be subjected to the risk of exposure to the moisture. Even though you do the proper coating on top of the strain gauge, moisture may also penetrate through the concrete from the underside of the strain gauge and reach to the sensitive elements of strain gauge. This will affect the accuracy of the measurements. This WFLM series comes in two sizes, which is 30 mm and 60 mm gauge length.